Solana's price has been getting absolutely crushed. Today I'm going to break down two major reasons why Solana's price is collapsing and a couple of reasons why I think Solana still has a great chance of being one of the best performing digital assets this year. If you're holding Sol, thinking of investing, or just curious about where this market is heading, make sure to watch this all the way through. I'm Kareem and welcome back to the Crypto Code by ICN Talks. You cannot afford to miss this. Guys, we launched our flagship ecosystem product, ICN.live. It's a brand new and fresh Web3 news platform where you'll find articles in gaming, AI, blockchain, and of course, Bitcoin. And if you're interested in receiving great insights and market updates straight to your email, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. You can find all the links in the description below. Before we get started, let's pull up the screen and see the latest sentiment in the market and on Solana specifically. All right, as we take a look at the markets this week, it has been very choppy, but we're seeing some clear winners. We're seeing IP up 170%. I'm going to definitely have a look at this and see if we'll talk about it in the next video. But another one that I saw here was SEI. And I noticed that World Liberty Financial, which is Trump's DeFi protocol, purchased a lot of this. So I'm curious to learn more about it, and I'll do some more research into this as well. But overall, we're seeing a mixed reaction across the markets. If we move forward, I want to just look at the top coins and see what's going on. So Bitcoin is now currently at $98,000 as of February 21. We still have 10% from its all-time high. If we go to Solana, since this video is about Solana, we are 39% below its all-time high ever. We are seeing red in the market for the past 30 days, but let's go into Solana and dig a little bit deeper. So here we see over the past 30 days, Solana has been trending downwards. It's down 30% over the past month. I think it hit its all-time high. If we look at, let's say 1 year, it hit a high when Trump came into power around the end of January. That was also when he launched the Trump meme coin and Melania meme coin. There was a lot of hype around, but I think that was the exact peak, and we've unfortunately started to see it go down. We'll discuss a little bit more about what's happening on Solana in terms of transactions and metrics, but this is interesting to see that since the inauguration, things have been looking very red for Solana. But not to say, over the past year, it's still up 71%, so things are when you zoom out, it looks great. If we move on, I now want to go into the altcoin season index. It still looks like it's Bitcoin season. We're still seeing a lot of institutional interest and retail interest through the ETFs go into Bitcoin. So that's interesting to see. And it is showing that we're still not yet in the altcoin season. Moving forward, I want to talk about fear and greed index, because that's usually what I also look at when I want to either top up my bags or take out some profits. But you can see, and today it is 50-50. So we are in the middle. I think when Trump did come into power, we were complete greed, and we talked about it in the series. Now we're seeing that go down a little bit, and we're seeing it kind of neutral. So it is 50-50 at this point. Another thing that I like to look at, and if you've been watching the channel, is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So I'm just going to refresh this, see what's happening live. So we'll look at Bitcoin dominance, and I want to look at the 1 month so we can see clearly over the past month, Bitcoin dominance has been going up 4%. We saw a spike here happen on the 3rd of Feb, which is very interesting. But overall, it is still Bitcoin season, and this shows it. Past 6 months, we're up 6.8%. Year to date, it's still trending upwards. And over the past year, it has definitely been Bitcoin season, up 15% accordingly. Another chart that I like to look at, and we've talked about this before, is the Ethereum to Bitcoin. Wanted to point out, over the past 24 hours, things have been moving. And over the past week, we see 2.2% up in Ethereum to BTC, which is very exciting. I think we're finally starting to see some movement there, because as you can see, over the past month, it's been down 9%. Over the past 6 months, 34%. It's just been red all across for Ethereum. And just over the past 24 hours, we've seen this little spike happening here. And I'm hoping this is finally the time for Ethereum to shine. Moving on, I wanted to look at the market cap of Ethereum's dominance in the charts as well. Again, it does correlate with what we just saw. So over the past week, we're seeing finally some green, which is exciting. Again, you see the spike over here. So definitely something to watch. And I'm excited to see if Ethereum is finally going to shine in this cycle. Moving on, we'll look at Sol's dominance chart as well. It has been dominating very heavily this cycle, and we've been seeing this over the past year. It's taken 12%. It's gone up 12% over the past, but year to date and over the month specifically. And why we made this video is because it has been trending downwards since the inauguration, which is interesting because people thought the opposite. People saw everything being built on Solana, a lot of hype, a lot of retail investors jumping into the chain, more transactions, which we'll talk about, than Ethereum, a lot of amazing metrics. But why is it going down? Why over the past month are we seeing it go down 20%? So there's something that we need to talk about, and we're going to go deeper in this video. So stay with me. Moving on, I want to talk about those specific metrics. We'll go into DeFi Llama and we can see that Ethereum is obviously the king of liquidity in crypto. But what's interesting to see is we'll look at this now. And I want you to remember some of these figures that I'm going to be talking about. So Ethereum has always dominated in fees, in revenue, in volume. But look what's happening. Over the past 24 hours, Ethereum's fees is only $800,000. If you look at the volume, it's at $1.8 billion. And if you look at the number of transactions over here, we're looking at 1.3 million transactions over the past 24 hours. That's actually very low for Ethereum. And if we look at the chart, you can see how that's trending. Now it looks like it's trending back upwards in terms of TVL, which is exciting. And again, we're now starting to see dominance go up. So I want to keep an eye on that. But I want to compare this. Okay, let's look at these stats again. Look at the fees, revenue, and transactions here on Ethereum. And I'm going to switch over to Solana. If you look at Solana, the revenue over the past 24 hours has been 1.4 million. Fees 2.8 million. That's way more than Ethereum, which is incredible. Number of transactions is not even close. Ethereum's was 1.3 million over the past 24 hours. Solana has 56 million transactions over the past 24 hours. That is more than 50x of what Ethereum has been doing. And that is something to be looking at. Obviously, the TVL is still much lower than Ethereum's, but it is trending upwards and there's a lot of excitement. But again, we saw that excitement peak at the inauguration of Donald Trump. It has been trending downwards. And I want to discuss exactly what kind of transactions these are throughout this video. Moving on, let's look at some of the sentiment and what's been happening in Solana. As you know, a lot of meme coins have been launching on Solana, from Trump, Melania, all the way to Hawk Tua as well. But now we're starting to see, unfortunately, which I think is probably the tip of everything that's going on, which is what happened with the Libra meme coin. And what it is now, everyone's talking about, it's the biggest Solana scandal since FTX. Hundreds of millions of dollars drained from it. It was, pumped by the Argentinian president, there's a criminal investigation around it. And this thread by Star Platinum really goes deep into what happened and how this could happen. But this seems to be the tipping point. And again, and if you've seen the channel, meme coins are very, very high risk. There's a lot of manipulation in the background, and this just finally puts it in the spotlight, and you can see how companies and people can manipulate this and how it can end up being a criminal fraud, right? So this is something to look at. And if you want to check out this thread, please go into it. It goes in quite deep. But on the positive side, I wanted to look at this thread right here. There's a lot of things happening in Solana in 2025. There are institutional investors coming in. RWA is going to be built. Deepin. They have a new upgrade called Fire Dancer, which is going to really take this infrastructure to the next level. But again, here, if you look at this, 94% of all meme coin volume is on Solana, and we'll talk about why that's a double-edged sword. But a lot of volume and a lot of transactions, which is very exciting, a lot of eyeballs onto the chain. And we're starting to see that everyone's excited about the ETF filings. So 5 Solana ETF filings have been registered. And if we look at Polymarket, there's an 85% chance that they think this will be approved in 2025. I think this could probably be approved by September, October, which is very exciting. I think they're predicting billions of dollars of inflows into Solana as well. So that's great. And with that in mind, big investors are, even though it has been going down over the past month, a lot of investors are excited, to buy this dip, and they think that it could go much higher. And we'll talk about different reasons why that could potentially happen in 2025. And because it's gone down so much this month, it could be one of the best performing digital assets of the year. Again, more investors are excited. They're very bullish on this. Even though it has been going down, they think it's going to bounce back very soon. So definitely keeping an eye on this. And again, more fundamentals, seeing different charts showing that there is a potential chance in the next 35 days for this to go up 60% and so on. But let's talk about fundamentals, because that's what's really important here. Reason number 1 why Solana's price has been tanking: the ghost of FTX, its lingering baggage. First, let's talk about Solana since the FTX collapse, because this is one of the biggest factors contributing to its current struggles. Now, we all know that Solana was deeply intertwined with FTX and its disgraced founder, Sam Bankman-Fried. Unlike many other projects that received some level of funding from FTX, Solana had a direct and substantial connection. FTX was one of the earliest and most aggressive backers of Solana, and Alameda Research, the trading firm attached to FTX, held a massive percentage of Solana's total supply. This wasn't just a casual investment, it was a core pillar of their ecosystem. So when FTX collapsed in spectacular fashion in late 2022, Solana's reputation took a massive hit. The market reacted accordingly, and Sol plummeted from its all-time high of $260 to below $10 in a matter of weeks. It became one of the worst performing digital assets in that bear market, with many investors writing it off as dead in the water. The sheer speed and scale of the decline made people question whether Solana could ever recover. But then, in a shocking turn of events, Solana mounted one of the greatest comebacks in crypto history. It surged from $8 to over $250 in just over a year, defying expectations and leaving doubters speechless. This kind of price action made it seem like the worst was behind Solana. Some even argued that Solana had completely distanced itself from the FTX fiasco and was ready to stand on its own as a true competitor to Ethereum. Except that wasn't quite the full story, because here's the thing. The FTX bankruptcy proceedings didn't just disappear. The problem wasn't fully resolved. It was merely delayed. And now, in 2025, the repercussions of that collapse are still actively weighing on Solana's price. One of the biggest factors dragging Solana down right now is the ongoing liquidation of FTX's massive SOL holdings. Back in March, 11.2 million SOL tokens unlocked from the FTX bankruptcy estate. That's about $2 billion worth of Solana suddenly hitting the market. And while these sales aren't happening directly on exchanges, most of them are being conducted through OTC deals. The market impact is still very important. Why? Because investors don't just look at the sales themselves, they anticipate them. The moment people heard that FTX's remaining Solana stash would start getting liquidated, panic set in. Even if these tokens aren't being dumped on the open market all at once, the mere fact that such a massive supply overhang exists creates fear and uncertainty. And what happens when investors expect a big sell-off? They sell first. They front run. Traders and funds don't wait around to see how the liquidations will be structured. They assume the worst and start offloading their positions early. This kind of reflexive selling can create a snowball effect where price drops trigger even more fear, leading to more sell pressure. And before you know it, Solana is down double digits in just a few weeks, which is what I think is happening right now. Adding to this uncertainty is the question of who's actually buying these tokens. We know that some of the largest VC firms like Pantera Capital and Galaxy Digital have been scooping up large portions of FTX's Solana holdings, but that raises another critical question. Are these investors planning to hold long-term, or are they just looking for a quick flip? If these funds bought their Solana allocation at a heavy discount, which they likely did, they could very well be waiting for a short-term price rally to offload their positions for a fast profit. That means we could still see additional waves of selling even after the FTX estate itself is done liquidating. So while many believed Solana had put its FTX baggage behind it, the truth is, the past is still haunting it, and the market hasn't forgotten. Reason number 2 why Solana's price has been taking a hit: Trump, meme coins, and its credibility. The second major issue, Solana's biggest use case right now isn't DeFi or real-world assets, it's meme coins. If you know me, I stay away from that. And if you've been paying attention to the crypto markets over the last year, you know that 2024 was the year of meme coin mania, and Solana was at the center of it all. We saw insane runs from coins like Bonk, Dog with Hat, and a flood of low-effort meme tokens, many of which launched in a matter of minutes on Pump.fun, a no-code Solana-based meme coin launchpad. That was a mouthful. And for a while, it felt like Solana had found its niche. The chain became the go-to place for launching meme coins because of its low fees, lightning-fast transactions, and retail-friendly ecosystem. This drew an enormous amount of trading volume, pushing Solana's DEX activity higher than Ethereum's for the first time ever. I know, but don't let it fool you because the liquidity in those meme coins is so low. If anyone sold a big position or bought a big position, the price would be completely impacted. So I always stay away from these. And when they do, retail investors get wrecked. People FOMO in, prices pump, and then the inevitable rug pull happens. I call it the Burj Khalifa because the price action looks like the Burj's silhouette, all the way up and then straight back down. We've seen this over and over again. And let's be honest, it does not help when Donald Trump and Melania get involved. At first, this seemed like a bullish narrative for Solana. Having a US president engaging with crypto, especially on Solana, was a sign that mainstream adoption is coming. But what actually happened? And other projects started thinking, well, if Trump can launch a meme coin, why can't we? We saw an explosion of what I call absolute cash grabs. Look what happened with the Libra meme coin. They got the Argentinian president to hype it up, make it look legit, and it turned into an absolute disaster with criminal implications. People thought it had real backing. They aped in like crazy, and then boom, rug pull, millions gone, just like that. And this wasn't just another meme coin fail. It made Solana look like a complete joke. If even world leaders are getting caught up in pump and dump schemes, how can anyone take this chain seriously? Now, even the degens who usually don't care are wondering if the meme coin casino days are finally over. Honestly, I hope this was the final nail in the coffin. All of these meme coins launched, pumped hard, and then collapsed in a matter of days or weeks. And the result, Solana's credibility took a massive hit. Instead of being recognized as a high-performance, institutional-grade blockchain, Solana started getting labeled as the casino of crypto. Think about it. When an average investor hears about Solana now, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Is it serious DeFi innovation? Is it enterprise adoption? Is it cutting-edge technology? Nope. It's meme coins, and not just meme coins, scammy meme coins that leave retail investors wrecked. By the way, if you're liking what you're hearing, then let us know by smashing that like button and subscribe to the channel. Crypto moves fast, so ping the notification bell as well to make 100% sure you don't miss out on our next crypto update. Solana has been smashing Ethereum on every single metric except TVL, but not everything is what it seems. Let's take a closer look. All right, so let's talk about the actual data. How does Solana stack up against Ethereum? Because despite all the hype around Solana's number of transactions, the real question is, does that translate into a fundamentally stronger ecosystem? At first glance, Solana has been beating Ethereum in 24-hour fees, revenue, volume, and transactions. And to put it in perspective, over the past 24 hours, Solana has generated over 56 million transactions, where Ethereum has generated 1.3 million transactions. Solana's 24-hour volume is $2.3 billion, while Ethereum's is $1.88 billion. And yes, while these metrics are impressive, it doesn't really tell the whole story. Let's break it down using the key metrics that actually matter in blockchain adoption. Total value locked, or TVL, dApp activity, and the quality of transactions happening on each network. Liquidity is the name of the game, and TVL measures how much money is actually locked inside a blockchain's decentralized applications. It's a critical indicator of how much trust and capital institutions and serious investors have placed in the network. Ethereum, for example, has a $58 billion TVL. Solana has $8.4 billion TVL. That's a 7x difference in locked value. And while Solana has been making strides in TVL, it's still nowhere near Ethereum's depth of liquidity. This is a massive issue because deep liquidity attracts institutions, whales, and serious DeFi users, the kind of people who drive long-term value in an ecosystem. So if we look under the hood of Solana, what's actually driving these transactions? What kind of dApps are dominating each ecosystem? On Ethereum, you have deeply entrenched institutional-grade DeFi infrastructure, including blue-chip DeFi protocols like Aave. You have Uniswap and Curve, which manage billions of liquidity. Stablecoins backed by institutions like USDC and USDT, which settle trillions in transactions annually. Real-world asset tokenization pilots led by BlackRock, JP Morgan, and other major players. Now let's look at Solana's top apps. Right now, Solana's most active applications are not lending protocols, they're not stablecoin infrastructure or serious DeFi platforms. Instead, they're dominated by meme coin speculation. Actually, 60% of Solana's DEX trading volume comes from Pump.fun, the meme coin launchpad. The most actively traded assets on Solana, not blue chip tokens, but high turnover, low liquidity meme coins. This is a fundamental issue for long-term adoption. Solana may have a ton of transactions happening, but if the majority of them are low quality casino style bets on worthless tokens, then it's not building a sustainable ecosystem. Don't get me wrong, meme coins will bring retail and developers onto the chain, but it will not keep them there, especially if they get burned by market manipulation. So meme coins have been a blessing and a curse for Solana. They brought in insane levels of trading volume and mindshare. They made Solana the retail chain of choice. They drove transaction fees and on-chain activity through the roof. But let's face it, meme coins are not sustainable. They attract short-term traders, not long-term builders. They create low-quality liquidity that vanishes as fast as it appears. They give Solana a reputation problem. And now that the meme coin frenzy is cooling down, Solana could be left holding the bag. Institutions prefer Ethereum's security, liquidity, and brand trust. If we look at the top 20 liquidity pools in DeFi, 10 are on Ethereum's main chain, 7 are on its L2s, and Solana, they have 1. Institutions need deep, stable liquidity, and right now, Ethereum has it. Solana doesn't. Well, at least not yet. So, where does Solana go from here? Right now, it's at a crossroads. It can double down on being the retail chain and embrace meme coins and high-frequency trading, or it can build out a more serious ecosystem that attracts deep liquidity and institutional backing. But for now, Solana's biggest challenge is credibility. It needs to shake off the casino narrative, attract real builders, and prove that it's more than just a playground for degens. Because if it doesn't, Ethereum will continue to dominate, and Solana will stay stuck in the shadow of its own success. I also haven't even mentioned Sui, which is emerging as a serious contender to challenge Solana, thanks to its high-performance move-based architecture and unique approach to scalability. Sui is becoming an attractive alternative for developers looking to build high-speed apps. However, it's not all doom and gloom. The fundamentals remain very strong, and the blockchain is still one of the most adopted in the space. In the near term, Solana's path forward depends on shifting its narrative away from meme coins and toward real-world utility. With PayPal integrating stablecoin payments on Solana and ETF filings in progress, there's still massive upside potential. If institutional money flows in and the Fire Dancer upgrade strengthens the network, we could see Solana being the best performing digital asset in 2025. If the bull cycle continues and Solana was able to achieve Ethereum's current market cap of $340 billion, that would price Solana at $685. Over the next 3 to 5 years, if Solana can attract major DeFi projects and more institutional adoption, it has a real shot at challenging Ethereum's dominance. But if all the stars align and Solana manages to reach a $500 billion market cap over the next couple of years, that would take Solana's price to $1,000. But let's be clear, the competition is heating up. Sui, Aptos, and even Base are growing fast, and Solana can't afford to rest on its early success. The next year will determine whether Solana solidifies itself as a true Ethereum competitor or fades into just another retail-driven chain. The choice is clear. Build for the future or risk getting left behind? Let me know in the comments. Is Solana on the path to $1,000 or is it losing its edge? Thank you for making it this far. See you next week.